Welcome to FRC Media News for Thursday, March 29th, 2018. I'm Keith Tebow. After a couple weeks off, glad to be back on set. I want to thank Donna Mata for hosting the news the past couple of weeks. Tonight we talk about some of the capping services being done at the Fall River landfill. We share information about a Wheels on Meals program for senior citizens. And we have highlights of a ceremony held in Fall River to honor local Vietnam veterans. But first, let's check in with the news headlines of the week. We bring in digital news editor at the Herald News, Will Richmond. Will, welcome.
Thanks, Keith. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to be back. A lot going on again, a lot with the City Council this week. They held a meeting on Tuesday night. And I guess what has now been a foregone conclusion since the early parts of this month, they officially approved the funding of $263 million for the new BMC Durfee High School. And I know many times we've said this, Will, but now I guess it is official. The city will have a new high school.
It certainly appears that way. The funding mechanism is now in place. It's gone through all those approval processes, as you mentioned. And we are now on to the final design and location kind of phase of this. So we are moving forward on the new Durfee, and seems there's no stopping it at this point as long as the ground is ready for it.
Yep, and that'll be something that we'll be following going forward. A lot of the politics involved with this over the past few years now appears to be over. I believe the vote was unanimous on Tuesday night, even though City Councilor Steve Camara was one of the councilors who was against this process, taking the vote to the voters to override Proposition 2.5 for the debt exclusion. But I think he even contended that, this went before the voters. The voters voted to have the debt exclusion, and now we move forward, correct?
Yeah, it was the unanimous vote. As you mentioned, they said the voters approved it, so let's move forward. Seems any thoughts of a challenge are now in the back, the rearview mirror, so to say, and they'll be getting down to the nitty-gritty of building this new high school.
And we'll have more, as we've had, on the Durfee High School funding and the building of the new high school coming up a little bit later on in the show. Also in the City Council this week, City Council Vice President Pam LaLiberty-LeBeau filed a resolution to look into the economic development plans for Fall River. We've talked about this before, Will, where Mayor Jazo Correa last year removed the Fall River Office of Economic Development from Government Center, saying that he has plans for economic development, plans that have yet to materialize. And in the meantime, there's still over $300,000 in community development money that is to go toward economic development efforts that have not been spent as of yet.
Yeah, so, this is an ongoing story, as you mentioned. Part of this review that's been requested by Councilor LaLiberty-LeBeau follows a letter from FROED Executive Vice President Ken Fiola, who kind of is bringing it to the council's attention that the city is again asking for the CDA money to fund economic development, but they have expended no money in the current fiscal year. So he's raising the question as to whether or not it would be fiscally responsible to continue funding the city through those funds if they have not done anything with it, and is again making a request that the CDA funding be returned to FROED. So there's sort of a need here to really kind of figure out where economic development plans stand in the city, if they should be funded with CDA funds, or if there should be some consideration for moving those funds back to FROED or maybe even elsewhere.
And the City Council subcommittee that will be looking at economic development will be holding a meeting, I believe, next Tuesday to discuss this issue, as well with a petition to look at the progress of the Make It Here marketing campaign that Mayor Correa instituted about a little over a year ago, with the new logo and the new slogan for the city moving forward. So we'll continue to follow that as well. Finally, information from our landfill here in the north end of the city of Fall River. The landfill, of course, has been closed for a couple of years. The city looks like it's getting a windfall due to an agreement that was signed from Mayor Sam Sutter with the owners of the landfill back in 2015, which looks like the city may be getting about $1 million based on the remediation that was done by the owners of the landfill.
Yeah, so the agreement that was reached back at that time does create some financial incentive for the city. They'll be getting approximately $550,000 during the current fiscal year, and then the remainder next fiscal year. This has to do with the covering of a section of the landfill that was known to be contaminated with some outside soil. I think this helped the landfill to sort of fill in some areas as well, so it helped them on the revenue end. But yeah, so the city, a couple of years later, will be able to reap the benefit of that agreement signed by the previous administration.
And what will happen here is, I guess this money will just go into the general fund for general purposes. It's not earmarked toward anything, is it?
No, at this point, it's not earmarked anything. You know, there's certainly expenses that may be popping up at the end of the year as you know, some accounts run deficits and there's line items that need to be transferred about. So this may help in that area. And but at this point, no designated spending for any of those funds.
And we'll, again, have a follow-up on this story a little bit later on in our program coming up in just a few moments. All right, Will, what's coming up at the Herald News over the next few days?
Well, speaking of deficit spending, we are checking in with all of the towns in the area to see how they did with their snow budgets this year. We are hopeful that there is no more snow, or at least accumulating snow, to fall for this season. So we're checking in to see how all the communities are doing and how they plan to make up any gaps that they might have. Yeah,
it is that time of year as we you know, say goodbye to the snow. Again, as we're recording this, it's the first day of baseball season, so we can't have any more snow, right? Red Sox are going to start playing, even though they're on the road. We can't have any more snow. Baseball, it's time for baseball, so we don't need any more snow. And also, it's a time where it's budget time for a number of communities. I know in our neighboring towns, they'll have town meetings coming up, and of course, in Fall River, the mayor will soon enough be presenting his fiscal year 2019 city budget. So a lot of this needs to be answered. All right, Will, we'll talk again next week. Have a good weekend.
All right, you too, Keith. It was good seeing you.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
It's time once again for Forever Paws Animal Shelter's annual Spring Fling and Wellness Fair. This special event raises funds to support Forever Paws in its efforts to protect and find homes for abandoned, stray, and abused animals, and will take place this year on Sunday, April 8th. Stop by and sample a variety of wellness services, including reflexology, massage, Reiki, skin rejuvenation, earth stones, and ear candling. Or try a tarot, angel card, flame card, or rune reading. An animal spirit communicator will also be on hand, along with holistic, flower, and jewelry vendors, and a delicious bake sale. The Spring Fling will be held at Rachel's Lakeside, 950 State Road, Dartmouth. The door opens at 11:30 a.m. General admission is $2. Services will be available from noon to 5 p.m. Each service is for 15 minutes and costs just $10.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Fall River Career Center. Litigation attorney. Batello Law Group, located at 901 Eastern Avenue, is looking for a full-time litigation attorney licensed in Massachusetts and Rhode Island to handle litigation cases. Job number 10377009. Ophthalmic Technician Assistant. Center for Sight, located at 1565 North Main Street, has an immediate opening for a full-time ophthalmic technician assistant to assist doctors in patient eye care in performing technical workups and special testing, surgeries, and scheduling. Job number 10370931. General Manager, McDonald's, located at 1690 President Avenue, is in need of a full-time general manager to oversee operations of the restaurant, provide guest satisfaction, and provide an enthusiastic work environment for team members. Job number 10368805. Bristol Community College, located at 777 Ellsbury Street, is looking to fulfill the following positions: Women's Soccer Assistant Coach, job number 10366756. Coordinator of Transfer Affairs, job number 10345039. People Incorporated, located at 4 South Main Street, is looking to fulfill the following positions. Licensed Practical Nurse, job number 10336999. Certified Nursing Assistant, job number 10336996. For more information on these or other positions, visit jobquest.detma.org or call the Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
The city of Fall River has signed an agreement with the Fall River landfill owner, Republic Waste Services, formerly known as BFI. The agreement results in a one-time payment to the city for environmental remediation services done to the North End site.
It was back in 2014 when the city of Fall River first learned that the Department of Environmental Protection, DEP, was going to hold the city responsible for the cleanup of some land areas outside the footprint of the landfill, which was owned and operated by BFI. The city was fortunate to enter into an agreement with BFI whereby they would complete the environmental remediation of the city's portion of that site, and any excess revenues that were received by BFI would be split with the city of Fall River. So they have completed their remedial work, and the city of Fall River will be receiving $1 million, which reflects the 50% share of the net operating profit from the landfill.
Now, how did that agreement come about now?
Well, it was in 2014 that BFI was preparing to close the landfill, and it was at that point that DEP required that the areas surrounding be cleaned up. So we entered into the agreement with BFI because they had the capacity to do the actual cleanup. And they did that by accepting what are called urban soils. These are very, very mildly contaminated soils that come from construction sites, typically around the Boston metro area. Those contractors need a place to dispose of that urban fill. And so BFI accepted that urban fill, and they charged the contractors to receive those fills. So the monies that BFI secured for taking those soils ended up resulting in a profit to BFI, and the city benefited by receiving the $1 million share. And BFI, I will say, is going to be responsible to provide the monitoring for those areas for another 30 years. So we were fortunate to partner with BFI, who had that capacity to do that kind of work, and the city did benefit. And at the end of the day, the area has been cleaned. Effectively, it's been capped and doesn't pose any type of environmental threat whatsoever to the area.
As we mentioned earlier in the show, the Fall River City Council voted unanimously this week to approve the full funding amount of $263 million to construct a new BMC Durfee High School. While supporter and school committee member Mark Costa is pleased with the vote, he also understands taxpayer concerns.
No, it's completely understandable, and I came across a number of people who presented that to me. To those people, I ask them if they're able to continue to try to work with us, to try to make the sacrifices necessary for the school. Those who unfortunately aren't able to, I feel very badly for those. It's an unfortunate situation. It was never intended to be a project that brought so much divisiveness to our city.
Meanwhile, as the project moves forward, School Superintendent Matt Malone reminds residents that other construction-related projects are simultaneously ongoing.
We got great work happening in schools, so every day in classrooms we've just got awesome things happening, and that's exciting. But in terms of the big picture stuff that we're working on, we got some repair programs going on at Tansy and Watson. We're going to get new windows, new boilers, new roofs, and then we also put in requests for roofs, windows, and boilers at Resiliency and at Westall. So these are projects that we'll continue to do, and then we do smaller projects. We continue to upgrade playgrounds. We continue to upgrade our facilities. We're going to be doing some work at Talbot hopefully over the summer, integrating some more technology and some whiteboards that they have needs for. We never stop. Last year we did a ton of projects over the summer to get ready for opening. We'll do the same this year. And we also, at the same time, we have some community preservation work happening at the school committee headquarters, at the central offices. We're going to be making that handicap accessible. So now the full public will be able to access the facility, which they can't right now. And that's a big deal for us, so we're excited about that.
Senior citizens in Fall River can sign up for free meals provided by Citizens for Citizens, but only if they're eligible.
Only for the elderly. They do have the Meals on Wheels, the brown bag program also, which is for 65 and older. That's the only programs, but a lot of elderly will not do that. They're afraid to have people come to their house. A lot of the clientele I have here, they kind of like peek in the windows before they come in. They're afraid somebody's going to see them. So especially that age group, they have a big sense of pride.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
It's time once again for Forever Paws Animal Shelter's annual Spring Fling and Wellness Fair. This special event raises funds to support Forever Paws in its efforts to protect and find homes for abandoned, stray, and abused animals, and will take place this year on Sunday, April 8th. Stop by and sample a variety of wellness services, including reflexology, massage, Reiki, skin rejuvenation, earth stones, and ear candling. Or try a tarot, angel card, flame card, or rune reading. An animal spirit communicator will also be on hand, along with holistic, flower, and jewelry vendors, and a delicious bake sale. The Spring Fling will be held at Rachel's Lakeside, 950 State Road, Dartmouth. The door opens at 11:30 a.m. General admission is $2. Services will be available from noon to 5 p.m. Each service is for 15 minutes and costs just $10.
Today we have Amber. She's a 7-month-old domestic short hair female. She came in as a stray. She'd do better in a house with no other animals. She doesn't seem to get along with a lot of cats, but although if you had a pretty big house with her own space, she might do well with that. Definitely no dogs. She doesn't seem to like them at all. She just pretty much wants to be around people. She's very young. She's a good cat. If you want to come see her, we're at 300 Linwood Street. Oh, Forever Paws. We're open every day but Wednesday, 11 to 4.
So today we have Aspen. He is an American Staffordshire Terrier. So this poor boy was found dumpster diving in someone's backyard, so they took him in. He does not have many manners. He does know how to sit, and he can come off a little aggressive to people because he has barrier issues. But I promise you, he's the sweetest boy ever. He's high energy, and he does listen to commands. It's just more or less getting him more conditioned. He's around 1 to 3 years old, if I remember correctly. Loves toys. He loves toys like no tomorrow, and he will walk on the side of you as long as he gets regular walks. He is a big baby. Yeah, he's a big baby, and he loves attention. So if you're interested in meeting Aspen or any of our other dogs or cats and critters, please come down to the Forever Paws located at 300 Linwood Avenue. We're open every day, 11 to 4, besides the Wednesdays. Come in.
Welcome back. In order to control the increasing cat population in Fall River, animal control offering a simple suggestion.
The only thing that really works is spay and neuter. So we help a lot with spay and neuter. We have lots of grants, lots of running programs that can help people with the cost of spay and neuter. Right now we're doing the Mass Animal Fund, and that's something people can donate on their taxes and actually help with spay and neuter in Massachusetts. So we do the Mass Animal Fund. We do the MAC license plate grant. You can get license plates that support and put money into spay and neuter. We have a grant over at Pet Partners that we use. We've gotten PetSmart charities. So call us. I guess that's what the short answer is. Call us. Definitely call us, and we can help you to spay and neuter your animals or any animals.
Vietnam veterans were honored at a recent pinning ceremony at Government Center. Congressman Joseph Kennedy, Mayor Jazio Correa, and other city and state representatives were on hand.
A half a century ago, we didn't know that the first troops deployment would lead to the death of more than 58,000 U.S. service members. As many of you are aware, we come here each year to remember that although the war is over, we must take time out each year to mark this date so that others may know what happened and those who serve shall never be forgotten. The Tet Offense, January 30th, 1968. The forces of the Viet Cong began the campaign of terror against the South Vietnamese, the United States, and their allies. It was a campaign of surprise against military and civilian command control centers throughout South Vietnam. The name of the offense comes from the Tet holiday. It's the Vietnam New Year, when the first major attacks began. So today, we celebrate the 50th anniversary of those who served in the year of 1968, and to all those who have served during the Vietnam War.
I also obviously want to start by thanking all veterans who have served in any capacity over the course of your tenure, and just as importantly, your families, for the commitment that they have made and the sacrifice that they have made to our nation. To the Gold Star families that are here, there are no words. Thank you for being here. Thank you for honoring our men and women in uniform and their families as well.
That'll do it for this edition of FRC Media News. You can watch FRC Media News Thursdays and Fridays at 6 p.m. and follow us online at frcmedianews.org. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great week. We'll see you next Thursday.